Hey everyone, your favorite nerd Ben Treat here, and I've actually brought a special guest today for a quick interview because I know a lot of you have found stinkers in the housing market that while they're affordable, man, that is the most ugly kitchen I've ever seen. And so I brought in the new head of our renovation and construction department. His name's Jared Bird, and go ahead and give him a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here today, Ben. My name is Jared Bird with First Integrity Mortgage Services. I am a mortgage banker. Just got the new role of the renovation and construction specialist as well. So, contact me if you're looking to modernize that kitchen that you said.
Yeah. And I know you were saying, we're talking about the kitchen, but, it could be about anything, even if it was just new carpets or new windows, and that's all that was really needed. There's a benefit to doing a renovation for that rather than coming out of pocket. Tell me something, because every lender, every bank is going to be like, oh, yeah, we have a construction loan, we have something. What do we have that's a little bit different that makes it more unique that might be beneficial to future customers?
Yeah, so, our renovation loan is solely focused on the value of the home. So taking into consideration the increased value after those renovations are done, if you were to go to purchase a home, we would start by, getting a pre-approval together for you to basically cover those renovation expenses as well. And as far as appraisals go, it does take a different approach. We look at what we call the AIV, which is the after improved value. So whenever those appraisals are done, it looks at what the project will be valued at after, the renovations are completed.
Okay. And just for, those handymen out there, are you able to do the work yourself?
No, you aren't. So the contractors you can choose, but they do have to go through the qualification process and, go through the qualifications to be able to do the work themselves or do the work as a company. But no, you can't do it yourself, or a family member can't, unfortunately.
So my brother can't just go ahead and build the house for me.
Yeah, brother can't do it, unfortunately.
Okay, I guess. I mean, there's a trade-off for everything, but that sounds like a really good deal where as long as, after you've made your improvements, that value can affect your down payment and closing costs. Is that kind of what I'm reading into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, with the after improved value, that does go off of, the normal criteria of loan to value on those other standard loan programs. So, meaning like a conventional loan, you can go all the way up to 95%. FHA, you can go up to 96.5%. And then USDA, VA, there's 100% financing options there too. So, and that's on the after improved value. So that's not just based off of what you purchased it for. That's off of after renovations are done, the after improved value of your home, you can get that much more out of it. In a lot of cases, that tends to, if they overshoot the, the rehabbing a little bit or the remodel, then you can use those towards your closing costs as well.
Okay, so Jared, after, say I got a veteran buyer, buys a house for $200K, he wants to put in about $20K of work into the house. After all said and done, the house is at $230. Would I be able to, one, cover closing costs, and B, could I do a rate buy down, or is there anything else that I can do that you know of? Yeah,
I mean, in some circumstances, that may definitely be the case. There are options though, with there is some money left over, we can put that straight into the principal reduction to where your principal is going down and you're, getting a lower payment, overall as well. So, I mean, if it's not used, we definitely find a way to make sure it's benefiting the borrower.
Okay. So no matter what, as long as we put in the good work, there's a good chance that we're going to reap extra rewards as well, as long as we're doing this correctly, which is always good. The one big thing, because I know there's tons of programs out there and a lot of people will go, well, what is the best fit for me? And I know part of my process when I'm just dealing with a purchase is I'm going to go through that and look at their documents and look at their credit score, all those fun things that we do or supposed to do. Not everyone does. But with that, would you say that like there's a process where once I've taken these applications that when we get together, do you think, is there a process that you kind of go through that you like to go through?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very similar approach to, like you said, a normal purchase or refinance. I mean, as far as documentation goes, the initial application, I mean, I guess the biggest process that I take, overall is I strive on education. So I want to make sure that everybody's in tune on everything. I take that same approach with the renovation loans, along with just the standard purchase and refinances, educating them on the process overall. It's something where there are outlines and benefits, being able to choose, which programs you want to do, which contractors you work with, and what you want to do to your home. So it gives you the ability to choose a lot of things. Okay. And get exactly what you're wanting to get.
And with those contractors, do we typically, I know you said there was a application process for, these contractors. Is that mainly just making sure like they're insured and that they do it enough? They do these loans, or not loans, I'm sorry, but do these kind of builds enough to where we feel comfortable? Is that the main thing? Is just making sure that they know what they're doing and that they're insured. So if they do screw up, it's not on us. It's not on the buyer.
Right. Absolutely. They're looking at, just insurance, making sure that they're credible and the volume that they have. So they have to have a certain amount of volume per year as well. But yeah, I mean, it's, it's one of those things where you can go out and any contractor can fill the toolkit out. It's just a matter of if they qualify, you're able to use them.
Okay. And when you submit that application, say it's somebody that we've never used before, do you know roughly how long that would take? I know everyone's worried about quick close. And this is something that I know is not going to be one of those 30-day closes, if I understand right, correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, these are one of those things, in a perfect world, obviously you'd like to get things moving pretty quickly. I mean, on average, I would say right around 45 days or so, 45 to 60 days would be ideal. Just because that gives us time to get contractor involved. If there is, for FHA purposes, if there is a HUD consultant involved, make sure we're communicating with them. There's just a lot of different moving parts in that than a standard purchase or refinance.
Oh, sweet. And it's always good to set those expectations. That's one of the biggest things that I think Papa Joe, as I'll joke around calling him often, really harps on us is, on our core values, we own it. And that is one of the biggest things that we got to do is by owning it, we are upfront and honest about what we're doing and how this process works. So that way I'm not ripping my hair out because I'm not getting any younger. The hairline's not quite going to stay the same if I keep ripping it out. But I know the other thing that's going to be really big is frustration for the buyers, because it's already a semi-frustrating process for somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing. If we get a first-time home buyer, we got to be able to guide them through and have those set expectations. The other question, and I know this is going to be a lot of real estate agents and a lot of money-savvy people who have realized the value of real estate, is this investment property friendly? Can we use some of these programs for investment properties?
Yes. Yeah. So they're the LTVs are going to be, or loan to values are going to be different. You're going to have to have more skin in the game. But yeah, there is options to be able to do it in investment or second homes.
Gotcha. And it still applies where if that after improvement value has kicked in, that part of that can get covered by the value rather than, having to come out a full 15%. It might end up being you only have to put 7% of the down payment of your own money versus, if the value's there, obviously.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yep. That's exactly.
So for investors, that's one big thing that I want you to really pay attention to is if you get your bang for your buck and you truly put in the good work to these investment properties, you can take some stinkers and really create a good cash flowing property without having to put all of your money into it. And that I think is a very powerful tool that not everywhere will do.
Absolutely. And I would like to also mention, with the agents out there, those individuals that are going and looking at some homes that, they may see a home that's just getting overlooked because of they don't have the hardwood floor they want or the kitchen that they want, being able to set that stage for that borrower and being able to go in there and say, hey, this has potential and this is why, and then being able to approve them for that amount higher and being able to make it all happen in one close, that's, that speaks volumes. Being able to have an agent that can draw that picture for the borrower though, and can definitely open up opportunities for a lot of people.
And it can just really be just something that simple where if I just want hardwood floors in this room and that's really the only improvement I want, there's no minimum investment as far as reno.
I mean, there would be, as far as pulling the financing out. I mean, there might be a sense where you would just look into maybe pulling a little bit of cash out to do a room or something. So there would be options we'd look at as far as just tapping into your equity and maybe paying for that, or if you're going to buy that home, maybe a seller concession to maybe help you cover some of those things.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, I mean, far as pulling up the whole renovation thing, we typically are seeing, people gutting rooms or, doing some
doing a full reno or at least a full room reno.
Right.
Not necessarily going to be the floors, but if say that's all they needed was flooring for the first floor, they wanted to redo that flooring, then that's all they have to do for the renovation side.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was just
as
saying,
long as the value's there.
Yeah. I mean, the hardwoods can be pretty pricey, so that's why I mentioned that example there, just like kitchens, those can obviously add up really quickly. But yeah, I mean, those hardwood floors, you get natural hardwoods, they can become pretty costly. So that might be something that individuals may need to finance depending on the square footage of the home.
Okay. Well, Jared, I mean, I think that covered a lot of the bases. Everyone, I hope that was super informative for you. Kind of informative for me. I don't do a ton of these loans, and not from lack of wanting to. I see huge value in it, and so I really wanted to bring you in, and I appreciate you taking the time to come in and really help explain that. And I know at any time, if I have somebody who's considering that you'd be willing and ready to hop in and do an in-person consultation. That way, they would I feel better. You'll feel better because you got a deal coming your way. And of course, always the most important thing, that buyer is going to feel a lot more confident in that decision when they're talking it through with the experts and actually seeing something on paper.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you taking the time, man. And dude, thank you.
Appreciate you, Ben. Thanks for having me. And everybody, again, I'm Jared, so with First Integrity, renovation and construction specialist. If there's anything you need from me, contact me at 314-623-0953. Whether a purchase or refinance is preferred, come see Jared Bird. Thank you.
And of course, it's me, your favorite St. Louis mortgage nerd. I'm here to help. I'm here to educate. And these are going to be some more interviews going forward that I want to talk about different subjects because every nerd wants to learn. Thanks.